Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another installment of TED Excellence, the show in which I find out that the heaviest weight in the world is the one I place on my own shoulders. And I come to you live from Crater Valley on the moon with Dogcat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome again to Thursday. Terrifying Thursday. Or perhaps tonight it should be Torqued Thursday. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I'll get into tonight's subject matter momentarily. But first, who's joining me on this beautiful Thursday evening for another exploration into off-brand TED Talks? Why, we have Noah Asensio. Hello. Adabisi. Hello. Grand Inquisitor Tyr Alexander. Hello. Keeverdam. Hello. Mr. Tickletrunk. Hello. Derek LaRue. Hello. Who else is here? Let's see. Advocatus Diaboli. Hello. And then scrolling. Keep them doggies scrolling. Resolute Germ. Hello. And then we get to Darth Anarch. Darth Anarch. An Anarch? I suddenly have flashbacks to Vampire the Masquerade. Hello, Darth Anarch. Shell D. Hello. Attack Alpaca. Hello. Kiro Soldier. Hello. Misinformation. Hello. One Ton Hammer. Hello. Brittany Holland. Hello. And who else is here? Shadow Claw. Hello. Jack Frost. Hello. Rune Hirushin. Hello. Tall Person. Hello. Urcule Di Stefano. Hello. Snowflame. Hello. Ranting Monkey. Hello. Your boy Pat. Hello. My gosh, it's almost like old home week. What's going on? Are we having a reunion? Holy cats. Well, good evening, guys. Nice to see you. Derek LaRue, thank you so much, as always, for your continued support and generosity. Really do appreciate it. Hope you're having a good Thursday evening. Also, C. Thomas, I am not here. Who's not here? I don't know what's going on. So there you go. Also, before I forget, at the top of the chat box, if you'll pay attention to the fundraisers linked there, and if you can donate, please do. If you can't, please share those out on social media. We have a fundraiser at the top, and I'm playing favorites for the time being. This is for Maddie, another YouTuber. She's trying to pay off the deductibles for her cancer treatments. We're about halfway there. She's posted copies of all of the invoices for what she has to pay so that everybody knows that the amount she's asking for matches what she actually needs. So if you take a look at that again, please take a look at that one. After that, we have, let me make sure I get this right here. We got a link to our friend Lisa, who needs some help paying off the medical bills for her dog. We have Moonshock, who is currently recovering from having survived cancer for the second time. Medical bills obviously included there, so take a look at that one as well. And lastly, for Angry Illinoisian, who is having to be on workers' comp due to an injury and needs a little help as well. So please take a look at those when you have the chance. Really do appreciate it. Okay, so tonight. Well, you know what gets my motor running when it comes to TEDx more than anything else? It's a warning from TEDx itself telling me something about the presentation should not be taken too seriously. And in tonight's example, it was to tell me that this presentation should not be considered as medical advice. Oh man, that's like gold. That is gold to me. Like after that, you don't need to tell me too much else. But also the title. Why weightlifting is a waste of time. And I thought, okay. And then I looked at the thumbnail that displayed the speaker, and I thought, the speaker's pretty ripped. So if he's not lifting weights, I don't know what he's doing. I guess we'll find out. But whatever it is, TEDx wants us to know it is not to be taken as medical advice. So I guess we'll see what we see. There's actually been a couple of those in the last TEDx dump of videos that had, this is not medical advice. A couple of those I may have stashed away for my oncoming anniversary TEDx marathon. That'll happen on October 11th. So keep an eye out for that one once I post that one. So that's all the lead up to this one. Who else is joining me before I get too far into this? Da fuck asshole. I'll say it that way. Hello. Jose Chacon. Hello. Anybody else that I missed in the meantime? Mike R. Hello. And I think that's everybody. Again, if I... Ast San. Hello. All right. So if I missed you, if you're lurking, if you're in the future, hello. But I got some celebrities in the house with Ranting Monkey and Your Boy Pat. So let's get into this. Your Boy Pat. I'll be curious to know your opinion on this. Why you shouldn't lift weights. Oh, also, I should have done it. I didn't, but I should have for the thumbnail. I put up weightless example because that just seems too appropriate. I should have put up don't even lift, bro. But anyway, also, sorry, I forgot. Tonight's bingo card is bingo card C. C as in cardio, because why not? Because of work stuff and my mind going all over the place, I forgot to post the poll to choose the bingo card today, so I'm making an executive decision and just picked bingo card C. Again, links to those are in the description. Okay, this sucker is it's over 18 minutes. Let's get into it. A few seconds for a sound test, and then we will proceed.
I'm going to start with a story.
Oh, you're going to start with a story. I love stories. They usually mean that they're anecdotes of a family nature or something that I have to question. You guys hear that okay? Let me know in the chat. Let's see. Faithless, hello. Brick M13, hello. Anybody else? Advocatus Diablo says, hear it. Your boy Pat says, noodle. I'll take that as a yes. And all right, let's see what he has to say.
About 15 years ago, my mother was diagnosed with osteoporosis.
Yikes.
Osteoporosis is when the bone starts to lose density. It becomes more porous and weaker, and then can fracture.
All right, well, this is already a childhood or family anecdote, so I'm circling that one on the board. Also circling free space because, well, free is the best price. So remember, get your bingo cards out. Bingo card C, if you're joining late, links are in the description.
Much more easily. So higher fracture risk actually has a much greater mortality associated with it. So greater chance of dying, and typically osteoporotic patients can share a similar mortality rate to breast cancer patients.
What causes osteoporosis? I honestly don't know. Somebody in the chat knows, or maybe he'll explain. Is there a particular set of circumstances? Is it random? Is it sort of like, any other kind of disease?
So it's very specific also to women's health. More women are susceptible to this. It's like 3 in 5 women versus 1 in 5 men have that weakened bone density as they get to the 5th decade of life.
Okay.
So my mother was alerted to the fracture statistics, which was very upsetting. But what was even more upsetting was some of the side effects of the medications.
So is this talk going to be, if you have osteoporosis, you probably shouldn't be lifting weights? Because if that's what it is, then I'd say sure.
And so she explained all this to me and was very upset, and I understood why. And my first thought was, it's a mechanical problem.
It's a mechanical problem. No, it's a bone density problem.
Bone absorbs force.
It can.
And that's why it builds density.
Does bone build density by absorbing force?
So why do we have a chemical solution for a mechanical problem?
Okay, yeah, I have probably just more than 10 seconds ago, I reached the limit of my medical knowledge when it comes to the function and or the mechanics of bone insofar as how it gains density. I thought it was like absorbing calcium from diet and other things, but I don't know.
There's got to be a mechanical solution. So I went and sort of looked all over the world to try and find a mechanical solution.
Oh, Jim Healis in the chat says, yes, bone builds density by absorbing force. Okay. Okay. Yes, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Jim Healis is something of a physical fitness guru at this point. Maybe I'm overstating it. I hope I'm not blushing your cheeks there, Jim, but either way, okay.
And what I realized was there wasn't one. So I invented one. A series of devices to compress human bone and trigger it to grow, similar to as we do it as children. So children run and jump and absorb high impact forces. Those high impact forces stimulate the bone to make their bones more powerful, so they're fracture resistant.
This sounds like a sales pitch for a product or service, so I'm going to be circling that on the board as well. All right. Well, you had my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
Now, as I develop these devices, when I say impact forces, I'm talking like 5, 6, 7 times one's body weight. So these are loading events that are far greater than you would ever see in like a gym type environment. Like in fitness, you might see like 1.3 times body weight or 1.5 times body weight. You won't see anything that's 2, 3, 4. Even with elite athletes, you don't see people go past like 5-fold their body weight.
Okay, so you have devices that put pressure onto the bones to encourage additional density and try to counteract what is lost through osteoporosis. Okay, if I'm understanding this correctly. All right.
So when the device was in its first sort of clinical trial in London, England.
I'm thinking of like RoboCop version 1, and we know how that went.
We had whole research team and a bunch of physicians that worked at the hospital that suffered from low bone density, not yet osteoporosis. What they had was called osteopenia, which is like pre-osteoporosis. And they were excited about the device, and they were excited about the future that it could possibly bring to the world.
Okay. Well, so if I'm understanding this correctly, the theory behind it is sound. I'm curious to find out. I wonder if you'll show us some pictures of these devices. And I'm also curious to see what, if any, study results or anything he has to this. And just as a note, when TEDx puts something up as, this should not be taken as medical advice, they're not really saying whether or not it's sound. They're just sort of like, making sure they cover all their bases and rear ends and everything. So maybe there's something to this.
So they used it along with the test subjects. They weren't test subjects, but they were using it in parallel.
Well, they were test subjects because this was version 1 and okay.
As the study was being run. And so they were seeing these high levels of force. And they said to me, how does this compare with fitness type data? And I said, that's a great question.
You mean you hadn't thought of that ahead of time? I mean, this is supposed to, okay.
Let me do an analysis on that. So I went to the NANES database. It's a database that's maintained by the federal government, United States federal government, National Institute of Health.
Real quick, and I don't know the answer to this question. I don't know the answer to this question, but if the method by which to try to counteract osteoporosis is, force or resistance training or something, I can't believe that nobody thought of such a thing prior to this, or there wasn't already some kind of physical therapy or something that was meant to promote bone density in people with either osteoporosis or osteopenia. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe this guy is just, wunderkind, and he just came up with something that nobody else had thought of before. But in all the history of medical science, when it comes to bone density and osteoporosis, he's the first guy to think of like putting on a cuff or something or some kind of other device to try to create bone density. Oh, okay. I mean,
and it's probably one of the largest databases of its kind, all types of different health and fitness metrics.
Okay.
And what I discovered, probably one of the more important discoveries that, at least in my experience, my lifetime, that was just a moment of realization, was that, imagine I'm using both hands, but I still got to hold the microphone.
And this is after you've already created version 1 of the devices that you think are going to help mitigate osteoporosis, but you hadn't done any research previously to see how you're going to measure the results of your devices against other. Okay.
You're 7 times stronger here than you are here. That was incredibly profound.
Wait. Let me back up. What was it?
Hold the microphone. You're 7 times stronger here than you are here.
Okay.
That was incredibly profound, because if you're 7 times stronger in one position versus the weaker position, where we start off if we're doing some sort of fitness type activity, well, that means weightlifting is a waste of time.
Okay, I not quite sure I understood that. He's just talking about like the mechanics of where your arm is positioned. All right. Well, let's see. Matt Barnes. Before I get there, thanks so much. I don't know if I know the tune I'm supposed to be singing this to. I gave my love a chicken that had no bones. Maybe. Yeah, boneless chicken. Thank you, Matt Barnes. Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. I really am. Ranting Monkey, he's talking about leverage basically. That's what I'm thinking of. And Jim Healis, our at least for the sake of the chat, unless I know otherwise, our resident fitness expert. What? Yeah. So because leverage exists, weightlifting is a waste. Yeah, that's the part I'm not quite. Okay, well let's see what he says about that. I'm glad I have expert testimony in the chat here to help me along with this, because this is so far out of my wheelhouse. I will say over the last year or so, I have focused more on physical fitness, and I've done a daily exercise routine, not trying to become Mr. Universe or something, but just to, get into better shape. And part of that has involved weight training, both hand weights and barbell, that kind of thing. And so, but I also don't have osteoporosis, and that seems to be what the focus is here. So I was confused by the title referring to like exercise in general, but he's talking specifically about I guess we'll find out. Thank you, C. Tom. Sorry, who's here? You're not here. What now? Okay. Where is that part where he's going to pitch some miracle clamp? Does he got something like those 2 a.m. TV ads kinds of products? Well, he said he invented something. He said he invented some device or devices to promote bone density. So I'm hoping we get to that at some point. Some either visual example, or maybe he has it with him. I don't know.
Because a weight stays the same weight. No matter where you are in space, it's the same.
Yeah, but what?
We need something that changes.
We need something that changes? Well, that's why you gradually increase the amount of weight, right? What?
So I also realized at that time, which is something that had bothered me. I was sort of a chubby guy back then.
I really, Jim or Pat or anybody with some physical training experience here, I feel like I need a wingman on this. I feel like I can't handle this on my own. So on the chance that either one of you with some experience in this kind of stuff wants to jump on with me and fly along with me on this, let me know. I'll try to get you the link somehow, because this really seems like something I need an extra head on for this, because I just or Monkey. I mean, you seem to know some about this too. So either way, yeah, if anybody wants to jump on with me and join me on this cavalcade, because this is decidedly outside my usual realm of conversation. Thank you again, Matt Barnes. No matter where you are in space, bench 300 here and then on the moon. I guess no matter where you are, it's always the same weight. Well, I guess it is, I suppose. Yeah, I already, like I said, I'm not a fitness expert. And when I heard that, something in my brain went, wait, what? Let's see. Gen T Maxi, hello. Jim Halis, I'll help. Hey, get on a mic. Get yourself ready. Let me know. I'll wait a second here just to see if I'm happy to have more than one person on. Let me actually, on the off chance I am going to have other people on, better put a background up or something in case. Let me get back to the comments here. So I will take a moment here to we're taking a moment of pause. Let's see, Monkey, I have no medical training, so I'm going to skip, but this dude is dumb so far. Okay. Yeah, Jim, if you can jump on a microphone or something, I will tweet you. Are you on? You're still on? Sorry, X you. I can X you, I think, if you're still on the X. Let's see. There you are. Okay, so here's what I will do. I will send the invitation link to your Twitter, or your X, and then if you can hop on in a minute or three, let me know. All right. So I've sent you the link, Jim. It should be in your DMs right now. And I will, I just made this overlay today, this brand new TED Excellence or Moonbase overlay. And now I'll have to abandon it in order to display Jim when he pops in here. So apologies, those of you waiting. Won't take too long. Just a brief intermission while I bring on a special guest expert to help us analyze and digest what we're being told. I'm looking forward to it. I've never had Jim on as a co-pilot for a TEDx. I have interviewed Jim before on a completely separate subject. So if you're curious about that, look up my series on my channel, Familiar with the Matter, where Jim Healis tells us all about his adventure in being an independent comic book creator. Yes, it's true. You should go check that out when you have the chance. And here he is. All right, let me get this set up here, Jim. 1 second. Turn this off. Turn you on, as it were. There you are. Are you there? Can you hear me? I can hear you.
All right, give me a second.
Sure. Actually, can I slim this down some? No.
There we go.
Okay. All right. You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. Now. All right. Jim Healis. Everyone, Jim Healis, welcome to TED Excellence.
Thank you.
So for everyone's edification, I know you mentioned a little bit in the chat, but just for the record, what is your area of expertise when it comes to physical fitness as pertains to our subject tonight?
So I have a background in physical fitness. I am NSCA certified personal trainer, NSCA certified strength and conditioning specialist. And currently I hold a bachelor's degree in exercise science, and I'm pursuing a master's degree in sport conditioning.
Well, I couldn't have asked for anyone more perfect for this presentation. In fact, I probably should have consulted with you ahead of time, because I wasn't quite sure where this one was going, but man, I'm glad you're here. So before we continue with this, what is your reaction to what our speaker has said so far?
He's not introducing a new concept. In a couple minutes, I took a quick look at who this guy was or is, and what he's presenting, and to kind of predict what he's going to talk about here. He's going to talk about variable resistance.
Well, see, I don't want to get too much into what other stuff is not in the presentation, but just
So what he's talking about so far is true, but it's not revolutionary.
Okay.
He's spoon feeding information and not filling up the whole spoon.
Okay. Well, I mean, to be fair to the speaker, we're only a little bit into the talk, so maybe there's more coming. But when he was talking about the whole arm here is this and arm back is this, and weights and this, I saw you laughing in the chat. Why was that?
Because what he's talking about is he's trying to present a simplified way of saying, hey, this is how your body works. And he's going to, he's not telling the whole story. He's providing a very simplistic view of how the body works so that it benefits his view of what he wants to present.
Okay.
So there's a purpose for using a fixed weight when going through a full range of motion, as he demonstrated chest press. So moving your hand from your armpit to full extension forward. In the real world, we do not move dynamic weights.
Okay.
When we are pushing something away from us, we do not, whatever we are pushing is not lighter because it's closer to us and heavier as it gets further away because we're stronger out there. That's not how it works. And while we can certainly absorb more force when the arm is extended fully. We are able to provide more leverage against an external resistance when the weight is actually closest to our body, because we're not relying simply on our arm to move it.
Right.
We are applying force throughout our whole body in order to push this weight that's in front of us.
Okay. And that resistance alone could conceivably contribute to increasing bone density.
Yes. So
Okay.
a lot of research has been done on resistance training and bone density.
Sure.
And it is a proven result of resistance training that bone density increases.
Okay.
So he's not saying anything incorrect. He is just manipulating he's manipulating what the science says in order to benefit what he wants it to say.
Okay, well, we'll continue with the video in a second, see what else he has to say. First, A2P, thanks so much. Speaker looks like an off-brand Jeff Bezos. I guess? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sure. If it's just the bald head, I appreciate it, A2P, thank you. All right, so he's given us the... Like I said, I'm going to extend the benefit of the doubt. He's giving a layman's setup for whatever he's going to tell us next. So he wants to say that lifting weights is a waste of time. Of course, that would benefit his invention if it doesn't involve any kind of weight training. So let's see. I want to see a visual representation of his inventions.
I know what his invention is, so
okay.
we'll let the video play out.
All right.
And was frustrated about it, and I kept trying to eat more. Some of the worst fitness advice you'll ever receive is you've got to eat big to get big.
Is that true or false?
It depends on the context. It's absolutely true that you must consume more calories in order for your body to get bigger.
Right.
But it depends on what your definition of big is.
Okay. Oh, and by the way, as we proceed, if he says something that you really need to comment on, just give a shout and I'll stop everything and talk. So you don't have to wait for me if something like really hits a nerve.
It's totally wrong. You got to eat the right things. But what?
Right there. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's not that you have to eat a lot. It's that you have to eat a lot of the right things.
Gotcha.
What just struck me, it was so like apparent, and it had been for most of my life, is that everyone wants to exercise.
No, that's not true.
That's why personal trainers have a job.
Human nature dictates that we will expend the least amount of energy possible in order to do what we want to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Most people quit.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. This is the part where like I react to the statement before I get to the punchline.
Yeah.
Then they're usually blamed for being lazy, but they're not. They quit because it doesn't work.
It depends on what you're trying to do. And what do you mean it doesn't? I mean, so I've been, like I said, I've been doing a little exercise routine, nothing major, just enough to keep me feeling like I'm doing something for like maybe the last year. And it's just about every day I do some cardio, I do some crunches type stuff, sit-ups and things, and I do some weights and all that kind of thing. And it took a while, but I started noticing a real difference. And then that one day I lifted my weight wrong or got an angle on it or whatever, and I screwed up my shoulder blade on the back muscle, and it was like sore for like a better part of a week. And I just couldn't do anything without, feeling pain. So I had to let that heal. And I got out of the routine and I fell out of the habit, and it became harder to get back into it. And I started noticing I wasn't feeling the same in the time that I wasn't exercising. And then when I got back into it, I slowly built myself back up again. So it does work. You just have to commit to it. And it also depends on what you're trying to do. At least that's my personal sort of like, again, not non-professional, exercise junkie opinion. But who knows?
They quit because they might do a year at a fitness center and then look at themselves in the mirror and be like, well, I look exactly the same. So just show of hands, who here knows a lot of people that talk about fitness, engage in fitness, and they look exactly the same all the time? Okay, everyone knows a lot of people like that, right?
Can you be fit and not drastically change in appearance?
Depends on the clothes you're wearing.
That was good. I like that.
So yeah, we see these people all the time. They're the ones that you see that go to the gym, 3 to 5 days a week, and all they do is they get on a treadmill or they get on a stair climber, and they never really change. They're exercising so they can facilitate their eating habits.
Right. Yeah. Because it's both a matter of what you're burning off, but also what you're intaking. If you don't change the intake at the same time you're changing your burn off, you're not gonna. You're right. You'll just maintain an equilibrium. So yeah, you're exercising, but you're not actually doing anything. Yeah. So yeah, it is at least a two-pronged attack to changing your appearance. You have to change multiple habits.
Yes.
Okay.
Because that's sort of how it goes, and it always bothered me. I felt like I was wasting my time by working out, but also I didn't want to not work out because that would be even less healthy. So I just kind of kept grinding along. Like, I don't really know why I'm doing this, but I know I got to keep doing it. So now I realize at this point that everyone's workout sucks. And
really, I've noticed. I did the two thing. I changed how much I was eating and what I was eating, and I exercised more. And I'm pretty happy with where I like to say I'm not looking to be Mr. Universe, but I can see contours in my arms that weren't there before. My waist is a lot slimmer. I can actually kind of see the muscles in my stomach and everything, and my pecs are definitely a lot firmer than they were before. I don't know. Works for me, but maybe I'm just a mutant or something.
He's being hyperbolic for the sake of
I know. He's trying to sell a product. I got to remember that at the end of the day, he is trying to sell something here. So let's see how far he's willing to take it.
Doesn't work. But now I know why.
Okay.
And there was another piece of information that I realized when I was in high school.
Okay.
That was equally as important as the observations made in the bone density research.
Uh-huh.
Now, I'm going to ask a question about high school. Fortunately, we have some high school students here today.
Well, you are at a high school doing this presentation, so yes.
I want you to think through your high school experience.
Uh-huh.
Was there one person, depending on the size of your high school, you might not have had that one, but try and think about one person who was so athletically developed so quickly. Like one year they were 15 and the next year they looked like they were 25.
Yeah, I knew a guy, he was caught using chemical enhancements.
Yeah.
There was one or two guys in my high school that just over the course of one summer to the next, I was just like, wow. And then at least one of them got busted with some stuff in his locker. So yeah, no, I knew a guy like that.
Show of hands. Anybody?
Yeah, me.
Absolute super developer people. There's usually each high school has like one of those people where you look at them, they did all the same things you did in gym class. They went to the weight room just like you. Mm-hmm. They sort of became one of the X-Men and you're the same. I'm going to tell you why.
Oh,
I'll tell you why.
Okay. Tell you. Okay, you tell me. Okay, what? Okay, first off, you tell me what you think he's going to say, and then you tell me what you would say.
I think he's going to come back and say genetics.
Okay.
And what I would tell you, at least in the last less than 10 years, has been the prevalence of performance enhancing drugs. Testosterone, specifically things like Dianabol, have become prevalent in high school locker rooms. It just has.
Okay, let's see what he says.
And I'm going to tell you how we can fix it.
Okay.
It's one massive change to how we approach the human body.
Okay.
But once you understand it, you will never go back, and you will never be out of shape if you follow what I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh, guys. Listen to this. This is it. This is the secret.
knowledge.
This is it. This is it.
Knowledge.
Here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready for the one thing that's going to revolutionize exercise forever? I'm ready. My body is ready.
So,
a needle pulling thread. Oh.
When we look at these genetically gifted people.
Oh,
there it is.
Genetically gifted people.
There
okay.
it is.
Yes.
They have something very specific. It's not the amount of hormones they have.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
There's a lot of people say, well, that guy was probably just born with more testosterone.
Ooh, I know. They're dragonborn. Is that it?
No. The amount of males that have been kicked out of sports or disallowed from participating in professional sports because they had too high level of testosterone is 0.
Is it?
He's correct because they don't test for that.
Well, I guess that was a safe bet then.
So that's not a thing. They test for that.
Oh. They test for. Okay, well,
I was in the middle of drinking water and about choked on it.
Okay, so they don't test for that. They test for that. Oh, okay. Well, all right. Continue.
The difference is in where the tendons insert on the bone.
What?
I think I know where he's going with this, but
okay, let's see then. Okay.
Some people are very lucky in that they have a tremendous advantage. So if you look at my pectoral muscle right here, this is the origin. So everybody's pectoral starts on the sternum. Now, if I stick my arm out here, right here is where the tendon inserts, right underneath the bicep.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
However, these genetically gifted people, it inserts somewhere else. It's over here.
Is that a thing?
We would call that a birth defect.
Okay. All right. This remind that the way you said that reminds me of an old series that was like, it was called like Stan Lee's Superhumans or something, and it was these little profiles of people in the world who had some just random either gift of ability or some kind of genetic anomaly or something that allowed them to do XYZ more so than other people. Okay, so we know why people are buffer than they because of the where their tendons are. Okay.
At the other end of the bone. That gives them a lever inside their body that is made out of the most elastic material in the world. Tendon.
All right, stop. Hold on. Yeah. First of all, he should give back his PhD in biomechanics. Every muscle in our body has an origin and an insertion point. Okay. The origin is always closest to the center of the body. The insertion is always the furthest away from the center of the body. He's trying to use simple terminology by saying where the muscle or where the tendon inserts, or that it inserts at a different place, and then he is using that terminology as a biomechanicist incorrectly to point out the origin point of a muscular connection and confusing it with the insertion point. And it's getting a little deep in the science, but this guy's PhD is in biomechanics. The words he just said that came out of his mouth need a lot of explaining.
Okay.
Because they're on the face, they're wrong.
Tendons are incredibly elastic.
I thought the most elastic thing in the world was a politician's morality. Oh, sorry.
And in effect, they're using what's called in medical research and sort of physiology research as recycled energy. So when they come down in like a bench press or push-up type motion, they're almost spring-loaded to come back up. Now, recycled energy, everyone here has experienced it to a small degree.
I don't know where he's getting this term recycled energy. Anyone who's taken a physics class in junior high knows about how you can change kinetic energy into potential energy.
Mm-hmm.
What you're doing is you're taking kinetic energy and turning it into potential energy. And more specifically, he's talking about what is more commonly referred to as the stretch reflex, not recycled energy.
Okay.
When you sprint and you step on the ground with flexion of your foot, so your top of your foot is coming close to the front of your shin.
Yeah.
17% on average of the energy that propels you forward is recycled energy. Now, these genetic outliers, they have a much higher percentage, and they have it all over their body.
When do we get back to the whole bone density resistance thing, or is this leading up to that? Because
he's
feel
going
like
to lead up to it.
Okay, all right, because I feel like I'm getting lost already.
But that's what recycled energy is. So in essence, they are training with like rubber bands inside their body.
Yeah, that's what tendons are.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm. It's like, get on with it.
So how do we get to perform like them? How do we get to look like them?
Dedication, training, and discipline.
Go back and tell your parents to try again.
It's by doing exactly the same thing external of the body as opposed to internal.
So when do we get to your product? You mentioned at the beginning, you described it loosely. So do we get a picture? Do we get a slideshow, something?
So what I'm talking about is variable resistance. So that's the term you would look up if you were to look at the research on this. And there's
Is that true?
Yep.
Okay.
It is. It's called variable resistance.
All right.
Incredibly positive studies. All of them are come to the same conclusion. Variable resistance is much more powerful than standard weight training.
That's wrong.
And
that's wrong.
Yes, that's incorrect.
Okay.
And again, it comes down to it depends on what result you're trying to achieve.
Okay.
Reason is because, and this is the definition of variable resistance, the force that is placed upon the body is in accommodation to the power capability in that general position. So, for example, if I'm doing a chest press, I hold 550 pounds here.
You do?
He could.
Okay.
I doubt it, but I'm not going to question that.
I'm a 100 pounds wet sort of bag of sand kind of thing. So it's like 550 pounds in one hand. Like, okay, if you say so.
But only 300 here and 170 here. So it changes as I move to be accommodating to what my capability is in that given position.
There is a biomechanical explanation for this. And he is going to ignore it.
Okay.
To sell his product.
Now there's different examples of variable resistance.
So wait a second. Do you mean to say that what he just said was a weightless example?
Yeah.
Circling weightless example on the very first time, I think, in both two different forms of the phrase.
Right.
It is correct.
There's a pun there.
There is.
If anyone has ever seen like video from a powerlifting gym, you'll see piles of chains all over the place. Yeah. And so when somebody puts...
Because they're doing those chain whips and things, right, with their both hands and whipping their chains.
What he's going to talk about is applying variable resistance to a lift
Oh, those kind of chains. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
The chains around a bar on the end of a bar. It's so as they come up, they're picking up more weight, and then as they come down, it's less weight. So that is one approach. Now the ratios are not optimized or anything like that, but they'll get better results doing that than they will just picking up a static weight.
Okay, so I should be lifting weights then? I'm confused now.
Now, a lot of gyms won't allow for this because piles of chains on the floor are often a tripping hazard, and so that's a liability thing. So you'll have to go to like a powerlifting gym for that, and those are not unintimidating places. So, you know.
Can we get to the point, please? Yeah, this is so much filler. Come on.
Keep that in mind.
And cameraman, can you just focus in on the individual? Why are we wobbling all over?
Now, another way is by taking bars in a gym and putting bands around them and then hooking the bands to different fixtures on the floor, different racks. I got to caution everyone, you want to make sure that the racks are bolted to the ground, because remember, you're 7 times stronger in the extended position. Therefore, you're going to be using a lot more weight. You could tip a rack over. It could hurt you or someone else. Now, gyms are supposed to bolt their equipment to the floor, but that doesn't mean they always do it.
Is this an OSHA presentation or something? Come on, please.
He is right. He is right.
I know. It sounds reasonable to me just as an observer, but all the same, it's like, okay, gym etiquette, gym safety, I got it, but the title of the presentation promised me something else, and we're still not getting to it.
The third category is the at-home product.
Okay, third category. Well, that's a list to me. I'm going to circle list. I'm going to go over the bingo card in detail with you after we're done here, because I have a feeling that you're going to help me zero in on some squares more so than I could do so on my own.
Now, there's a wide variety of at-home variable resistance products. You have to keep in mind, again, 7 times the kind of weight you're normally dealing with. So you want to pick a product that has many hundreds of pounds of capability. Even a deconditioned elderly person might deal with 400 or 500 pounds in a deadlift type movement, which is for the back, training the back and the neck. So you don't, if it says it's got like a 50-pound capacity, that's not even good for like rehab. It really doesn't do anything.
I'm getting dizzy. Cameraman, what the heck? Usually these things are like fixed tripods or whatever. And also there's nobody in the front row. This is, were students told like you can attend this for extra credit or something and nobody showed up?
Yeah, probably.
It just sort of looks like exercise. So just be aware of that. And then the fourth category is one I never want you to attempt, which is just using banding by itself. Because the problem is if I throw a loop band around my back and I go to press, my hand is twisting because the band doesn't have anything hard to conform to. And the human wrist is not something that will stay in place if it has uneven force on one side of the hand versus the other. So the wrist twists. If you stand on a band to try and do sort of a back exercise.
I have to pause occasionally just for the sake of, transformative work and everything. Again, I wish I had it. I should probably get it, even though it'll probably put me at risk. Get that clip from Monty Python and the Holy Grail where it's just like, get on with it.
Yeah.
Because, okay, dude, I get it. When are you going to show off your product and tell us how it replaces weightlifting for bone density increase in osteoporosis patients? I mean, if you just focused in on that, it might be worthwhile. I don't know, but I haven't seen it yet. Come on.
He wants to tell everybody how smart he is.
I suppose.
Your ankles can twist inward. It only takes 7 pounds of lateral force to break an ankle. Pretty much.
Whoa.
That's like the one physical medicine statistic that every NFL player knows so well. So you got to keep that in mind.
Was this filmed on a fault line or something? What the heck is going on?
You need to protect the joints. So bands by themselves, worthless.
Okay.
I know I'm saying a lot of controversial stuff. Some of the stuff you may have heard, but chances are variable resistance, even in research, is a pretty new category. In fact, I think the first really good study was in 1996. So
1996, that was a active year. I guess the first variable resistance study and affirmative action was knocked down in California. So variable resistance, is that recent?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's so
Okay.
recent, it's been debunked already.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that after.
from a medical research standpoint, that's pretty new. I mean, as long as you're not talking about like cancer research, that's new. Because
Okay, well, before we get to anything else, back to real quick over on the chat. Thank you, Keeverdam. Maybe the camera person has osteoporosis. Yeah. Maybe the camera person is practicing some resistance training and moving the camera around and getting some weights going. Holy cats! I tell you, it's the most active camera work I think I've seen on a TED Excellence before. I don't know if that really says anything about the presentation, but it definitely makes it stand out.
this is just relative to how much research is done in a given field.
Okay.
Think about all this.
I am very hard, and I know Jim is.
And I want to emphasize
Mm-hmm.
the fact that
Yeah.
this is such a powerful intervention.
What is resistance training?
A lot of things come and go. You've been told about a lot of fads. A couple years ago, it was like everybody needs to train with kettlebells.
Was that a fad?
Sort of, but it's stuck around, and it actually has good application.
Oh, okay. I'm no gym rat, so I don't know these things.
And it was sort of like you look at it and you're like, how is that not just a dumbbell? It is. So, and also
No,
nobody.
It's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
Sure doesn't look like a dumbbell.
There's a mechanical difference between a kettlebell and a dumbbell. You dumbbell.
Cares and you can't even really find kettlebells around anymore.
What?
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 Wait, they went extinct? Somebody bought them all? They just stopped making them? What? I was in a Target like 2 weeks ago with my sister. We were walking down the aisle. I saw kettlebells for sale right there. What? Okay. All right. Is that I don't even know if that fits on the card.
Oh my God. Oh.
Actually, you know what? I know what this represents.
What? What is that? What the fuck is that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They just stopped. They can't find kettlebells anymore, guys. They're an endangered species. Somebody went and bought all the kettlebells on the planet and the factory that made them and just stopped, I guess.
It was just a fad, and it didn't give anybody any better results. This is the kind of thing, and I'll use an example. I was asked in an interview about 6 months ago. I was on a news show, and somebody says to me, what are your goals for fitness?
Oh.
Man,
They got
I've
the
often
high school AV club to record.
I guess I have sometimes described certain TED Excellences as roller coasters. I think this is the first time I ever felt like I've been on one. Whoa! It does break up the monotony. Okay, I'm gonna have to close my eyes so I don't get seasick as I go back a little bit because I completely missed what he was talking about as the camera went. So here we go again.
It is. So, and also nobody cares and you can't even really find kettlebells around anymore. It was just a fad, and it didn't give anybody any better results. This is the kind of thing, and I'll use an example. I was asked in an interview about 6 months ago. I was on a news show, and somebody says to me, what are your goals for fitness?
To be in better shape. To be healthier. I mean, why? What's anybody's goal in fitness? To be healthier and look better, ultimately, right?
It was a weird question. Nobody ever asked me before. So I said, well,
Because it seems pretty common sense, simple, but okay, somebody asked you that, huh?
I plan on having a kid at some point.
Okay.
And I'd really like my kid to look at me like I'm a superhero.
Okay. So your appearance. All right. Well, I mean, for whatever else is going on, the guy looks like he's in pretty good shape. You know, he looks like an action figure. So good on him, I suppose.
And
wait, that was just 6 months ago? You already kind of are there. So wait, what?
I guess it was a good answer because everybody seemed to love it. So
did it go viral?
I think that's the sort of effect that I want to leave you with an impression.
No. Curing osteoporosis or mitigating it severely was the impression that I had. Okay, you've got what? 2 minutes left. When do we get to the invention? What?
Like you can absolutely change your physiology by applying this. If you apply it to the highest degree,
apply
you will
what?
be absolutely blown away.
What?
With the kind of results you will get.
From what?
Now, consider the fitness industry. And as I mentioned earlier, most people engaged in fitness for year after year, they see no results.
Because they're not doing it right.
Why would you trust an industry? Because I'm saying things that are very much against the industry, but why would you trust an industry that has a more or less 0% success rate?
Hyperbolic. Holy crap.
Okay. The fitness industry does not then also force people to diet themselves. That's an individual's responsibility. They can give you all the equipment you need to shape your body however you want, but it takes two to tango.
And he's saying that an industry that in 2022 made over $90 billion has zero results.
Well, I mean, if you have a recurring customer base that's always hoping to get better but never does, I mean, you know. Yeah. I'm just saying, you know, if someone's always chasing that high, the drug dealer's always going to be profitable. But I mean, but all the same, it's like, that doesn't make any sense. It's not successful. Doesn't have any results. Now, people have results, but you have to put in the time and the effort, and you have to make the sacrifices on your eating to make it work. So yeah. Okay. Anyway, he's only got about a minute and a half left, and we haven't even had a technical explanation of what his invention was and how we get back to osteoporosis and and all he's been talking about is either weightlifting or, you know, the effective same in resistance between this, that, and the other in bands and a Bowflex. It's not weightlifting, but you are dealing with, you know, weights and resistance. So come on, man. Come on.
Would you invest with an investment company that lost all of its customers' money?
What? Now you've gone to a completely different territory. $90 billion, dude. What?
Probably not.
What?
You know, would you trust an ambulance company that crashed every ambulance and never delivered the people to the hospital?
Well, you know what I wouldn't trust? Somebody who says they have a product that can do a thing and they never show me what it is.
Yeah, what he's giving an example here is what's called secret knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a key factor in being a charlatan.
Let's see. Mind reading assumes motives. I think we've hit upon. Oh, and Kiefer Dam in the chat just says the same thing. Let me circle that one on the board. Boy, oh boy, we're gonna have a lot to go over here in a minute, guys. He's only got about a minute and a half left to really knock this out of the park.
No, you would definitely not want that ambulance company coming to pick you up when you need them. So you got to realize that what you've been told, the majority of it is absolutely wrong or sort of a distortion of research to make it simple.
You mean everything I've been told in this talk? Or He left that ambiguous. I could take that either way.
An expression I use frequently is oversimplification is another word for wrong.
Well, that goes back to what Jim was saying when we started this thing. Oh boy.
Okay.
So look into variable resistance. If you want to have that kind of success,
What?
really check it out. And
What happened to osteoporosis?
as I see it, and as I have seen the users of variable resistance grow to hundreds of thousands of people, I'm connected with 1 million of them on social media.
So wait. The title of this talk, and I apologize, the overlay I'm using is not the one I started out with because I needed to get a 2-person thing on here. So just ignore that title up at the top. But the title of this talk was Why Weightlifting is a Waste of Time. And yet he quoted a variable resistance machine that was just weights and chains. So that's lifting. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. We only got a couple minutes left. I'll just shush-ish.
You have to consider that in the future,
Yeah.
we have the opportunity where everyone who engages can be strong. Everyone who engages can be lean.
In the future.
Now, those two things right there are the greatest drivers in clinical literature, greatest drivers of a long life. And also, coincidentally, those two things have a massive positive effect on metabolic health
What?
and immune system health, which means
Okay.
we're all going to live longer, we're all going to live better, and live happier lives.
Because of variable resistance?
Thank you so much for coming today.
Why was he? Okay, did you see that he was stepping out of the frame of the camera?
Yeah.
This is okay. Yeah, this is setting everything else aside for a second. This is the most bizarrely filmed TED Excellence I think I've ever watched. But that was it. That was the presentation, guys. Okay, so he's an inventor. He's got some things that are going to help his proverbial, someone like his mother with osteoporosis. And then we just went off into la la land about all this other. Okay. All right. Before we get to the bingo card, final thoughts, Jim, on the overall presentation.
It's a whole lot of nothing. I don't know how old this TEDx is, but he is espousing something that was all the rage about 7 to 10 years ago.
Well, the TEDx now it is true. Sometimes TEDx posts things that were filmed in the past, but this was posted just, I believe, yesterday. Sorry, and but it's rare that they post anything that's more than maybe 6 months to a year old, if that. And there may have been a date at the. Let me check and see if there was a date at the beginning. Oh, I already closed it. Sorry. Okay. Well, anybody going back, sometimes they post the date of the presentation at the top. Okay. So he was giving a popular theory from the past, but I'm sure this thing was not a decade old.
No. He's the marketer. I won't call him an inventor. He's the marketer of what's called the X3 bar, which is basically just a metal stick that you attach rubber bands to, and it provides you a means for doing variable resistance training.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like some kind of exosuit pressure gadget thing. Oh,
nope. It's a stick that's about 30 inches long with hooks on it that you connect rubber bands to.
Okay, then, because in my mind I was thinking of something like you go to those to the drugstore and they got those little stations where you can put your arm through that cuff and you get your blood pressure taken and all that kind of thing. Yeah. I was thinking like something like that was like going to put pressure on the bone through the arm, and then it was somehow going to like help increase. But you just have to sit in this apparatus or something, and it helps old people like increase the density of their bones.
No, wouldn't that be nice? It'd be so much easier.
A Beach Boys song, wouldn't it be nice? All right, well, let's go over the bingo card, and I'll have Jim here to help me out. So everyone, we're going to go over the bingo card one time ourselves, and then any squares left uncircled will go to you guys. If you have arguments for squares yet to be circled, hold on to them. We'll get to you momentarily. So first off, plays victim. I didn't hear anything.
Didn't see it. No.
Yeah, I didn't hear any victim story. Leaves out vital context, I think, is probably
100%.
100%. Yeah, so circling that one. Let me make sure I update it as we go. Anecdote that probably never happened. You can't find kettlebells anymore.
Right. And
Can't find
ambulance
kettlebells
and an
anymore.
ambulance company that crashes 100% of the time.
Right, that too. Benevolent condescension.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
especially
I'm better. Yeah. I'm better. You need to listen to me.
Yeah. Self-vilification or wretchedness, no.
No, he likes himself too much.
Yeah, there was nothing in there. Feminism, no. Privilege,
no.
Well, unless you want to talk about the genetic privilege of the, origin versus insert people.
Okay.
Genetic privilege. I might be stretching a little bit, but it's not a bingo square yet, so I'm fine with that. Let me update the card there. Moving on. Microaggressions or unconscious bias. There might be an argument somewhere in there.
He was hating on those weakling high school kids.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if somebody in the chat has something. I might be able to, no pun intended for tendons here. I might be able to stretch it. I wonder that. I'll leave it. Patriarchy. No, I mean, no, there really wasn't. Economic disparity. Actually, I mean, he talked about investment at the end, but he was talking in hypotheticals. He wasn't using it as I don't think that kind of counts. Attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase.
Oh, yeah.
Which one was
recycled
that?
energy.
Recycled energy. Gotcha. Okay. Not a term used actually in physical health to any real degree.
No, nothing that I've heard in my years.
Okay. Word salad. Yes.
Yeah.
Because going from osteoporosis and just abandoning that and going to this, that, and the other. And it even seemed like at certain points he was searching his mind to try to pick up the threads as he was going along. So, I mean, I understood what he was saying more or less here and there, but it all was very disjointed. Again, no pun intended, but I'll take it. Diversity, equity, or inclusion? No, that wasn't part of this talk. I knew that going in. I assume so. Marginalization? No. Somebody could get creative, but I don't think so. Contradicts own point or argument. Don't use weights. And then you talk about using weights.
Yeah.
It's like if you're going to remove weights from the equation, you have to tell us, okay, well, what is the alternative? And even what would, even though he didn't describe the product in this thing, if Jim's description is accurate, you're not talking about weights, but you're talking about weight resistance, aren't you? Or am I just?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a different form of resistance training.
Right. Systemic / institutional. I'm going to say yes in regards to the fitness industry, because he was saying that, and what's a fad and what isn't, and this is how the business works, or do you think that's too far afield?
I can go with it. I think.
You know what? Your hesitation tells me, and plus the fact it's a bingo square, I'm going to hold off. I need a better argument than what I just came up with. I was moving a bit too far there. White supremacy? No, I never talked about race. Argumentative non sequitur. Well, what was the argument? I mean, by the title, it would be. Actually, osteoporosis. He never wrapped up that.
He never got back to that.
Yeah, that was his opening thing. He was talking about his mother. She had osteoporosis, and he's trying to increase bone density. And one of the ways you can do this is this. And then he never came back around to say, "And my product does this," or, And he went off into La La Land with high school stuff. And so I could feel comfortable with that one. And lastly, collectivize his own demographic.
I gotta say yes to this.
How so?
He is a genetically gifted person, and he lumped all of these genetically gifted people in together to say they have better abilities than the rest of you people.
Okay. I will take that. And if you didn't notice, as a consequence of that.
Oh, won't somebody please?
Bingo. B-I-N-G-O.
Okay!
Right?
We have our first bingo, perhaps not our last. So now it's your guys' turn in the chat. If you have arguments for squares to be circled, please put them in the chat now. And Ranting Monkey says, I'm a yes on institutional for scribes reasoning. Ooh, I have a second. I have a second. All right. Anybody else okay with that one? I want to get at least one more backup on that, because Jim wasn't sure. Monkey is. I'm on the fence of my own reasoning. So someone else speak up in the chat and either back me up or knock me down. P-Dog Knight, dumbbells and bodyweight exercises are less cumbersome and easier to understand. This, compared to this talk, you would.
Yeah, I would disagree with that.
Okay.
That's another conversation to be had.
Okay. Adabisi, systemic institutional. He said, why would you trust an industry when talking about people not doing their own part? I don't know if this was your argument. That was kind of it. As
yeah,
you know, the business, the fitness industry, and so on and so forth, and it's working against you and so on. So, all right. Well, then I feel a little vindicated, which is fine. And also with that, if you can believe.
Bingo. What? Of course!
Our second bingo of a topic that is usually far afield of the usual subject matter for the bingo part. Any other arguments for squares to be circled? Let me scroll up a bit and make sure I didn't miss somebody. Meh says, I'm not sure how the rubber bands tie in with the specially attached pectoral muscle either. We mean the rubber bands as far as like the product he didn't talk about, or I was talking about rubber bands within the body, because tendons and muscles have elasticity to them, and they're kind of like rubber bands in a way, if I'm not completely off base.
Yeah.
Let's see. Advocatus wants to back you up on collectivized zone. His talk of genetically gifted people, which got a hair master racy like him, was collectivized. Yeah, I suppose that's true. I suppose that might be true. Let's see. Okay. Faithless, isn't the Bowflex a very old variable resistance exercise machine?
Yes, absolutely.
That's how I understood it. So I was like, variable resistance is a relatively new thing. I'm like, is it? I don't know when Bowflex first came out, or if they were advertising it that way. Ranting Monkey says, marginalized. He talked about those who weren't gifted. Oh, you're correct.
Yeah,
you are right. Yeah, you know that one kid that came back from summer and he was suddenly, yeah, that's right. Thank you, Ranting
marginalize
Monkey.
That kid.
I know, right? That's not fair. Let's see. P-Dog, it's been 6 months since I joined the gym and no progress. So tomorrow I'm going to go in there in person just to see what's going on.
It's a great place just to avoid the smell.
Yeah. Put some Vicks Vapo Rub on your upper lip. You'll be fine. You'll survive one way or the other. Let's see. Runty Monkey again. It's new by humans being around 300,000 years. Yeah. I mean, it was given a name in recent times. It's just been a thing that's been around for a while. Let's see. Advocatus again. Scribelight. Wasn't he sort of vilifying himself at the start when he talked about how he was wrong about how he was trying to help his mom incorrectly? Huh. I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on your degree of making a mistake versus vilifying yourself. I don't know if
I think I would need to see more self-humiliation.
Yeah, it was so. I mean, I only remembered it because Advocate has mentioned it, and I'm just like, oh yeah, and even that wasn't a major component of his talk. And he didn't come back to
If he had come out and said, I spent a decade trying to research something, only to find out at the end that I was completely wrong.
Yeah. And that all the people that I'd helped, I'd inadvertently hurt. Something like that.
Right.
If it was a bit more dramatic, then maybe.
Yeah.
Not attorney Eris. Hiya, I'm late, but I've been catching up on your old TEDx videos today. Haha. Well, there's plenty to go through. I got all the scripted ones on the playlist from the olden days, and now I got all the live ones. And yeah, this has been a very exciting one. Not only because surprise wingman, also crazy camera and bewildering talk. It was just, this has been an amazing presentation all around. Ranting Monkey, I didn't get self-victim from that, more confusion about it. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, if you'd followed that thread about the whole mom osteoporosis thing, I thought that was going to be the main deal, but it just never paid off. So I'll give another couple minutes here. Anybody else got any arguments for squares to be circled? Let me know in the chat. Last call. Let's see. Also, yes, and Kieverdam says also popular people in the chat. That's right. Ranting Monkey, your boy Pat, P-Dog Knight. If you guys don't know about these three individuals, well, let me tell you a little something about your boy Pat. Your boy Pat is a YouTube veteran, just like the rest of us on here. He's got his own channel. I believe it's just called Your Boy Pat. Oh, he's got a couple of channels. I don't remember the names of the other ones right now. Pat, if you're still here, self-promote, but look up Your Boy Pat for some very interesting perspectives on different subjects, and also some adult fare, depending on what channel you're looking at, where he's interviewed some people in certain industries. I'll leave it there in case YouTube's looking at me or something. Also, Ranting Monkey, my compadre, longtime collaborator. He does a show Monkey in the Morning, sometimes in the evening, sometimes when he just feels like it. He's also longtime co-host of mine on the old Lords of the Night show, so go check out his channel. And P-Dog Night has a morning show, the Morning Night Live, as far as I know, every weekday at 7 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. Eastern time, and I think 9 a.m. Central time, if I'm getting my time zones correct. And while you're here, Jim, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
No, I'm just I'm glad I was here to jump in and offer a bit more of a educated information than this PhD had to offer.
Well, what about Blue Mamba #1?
No, that's gone. That's gone. Yeah.
Well,
that's gone.
as I mentioned, everyone, if you'd like to find out about Jim's adventure in independent comic booking, check out the playlist on my channel, Familiar with the Matter, and there should be one under there called Independent Comic Books with Jim Helis's name on it if you're curious about that story. Very interesting story and very timely with some things going on in the independent scene right now with comic books. Might learn a thing or two from that. Promotions for myself real quick. Tomorrow, Friday, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, I'll be over on Sinatra Says' channel for my last scheduled sit-in appearance on the AAA meeting, where the the alcohol and ammunition meeting, as I'm filling in while they're figuring out their upcoming roster. So take a look at that. Also, Sunday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, I'll be doing the Sunday stream, which this week I think I'm almost obliged to do another Border Digest, because holy cats, guys, the last 48 hours alone have just been an amazing nuclear bomb going off when it comes to border issues. So we'll take a look at that probably. Also Sunday, I got two more I got to put in here. Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, will be the next entry in the little series that my friend Leonora and I are doing called Book Review of the Vampire, where we are reading the Vampire Lestat as we go. And then, more likely than not, after that, at around 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time, over on Midnight's Edge After Dark, I'll be on there for the weekly roundup with Tom Connors and crew, and I think we're going to be talking about our favorite 80s movies. So if you're curious about all that, I got a busy schedule this week when it comes to streaming, guys. So that's all I've got there. Anything else on here? Let's see. Ranting Monkey. Been a while since I caught one of these live. Been too long, brother. We need to hook up soon. Yeah, we do. You've got the time. I've got the lubrication. Yeah, we gotta do one of these things. I gotta find some. Maybe we'll figure something out. We'll figure something out. Also, and Derek LaRue says, and I prepared tonight. I have a link to my Discord. If you don't know, I have a Discord server. There's a link in the chat right now. If you click on that, you'll find yourself on the landing channel called Say Hello. And in addition to saying hello, you have to give the secret word for the stream that'll tell me and my moderators that you actually watch the show and have thus earned the right to join the Discord. And today's secret word should be Jim. What should today's secret word be?
Tendon.
Tendon. There you go. That's great. Tendon. Yeah. So just say hello, Tendon, and we'll know that you watch the show. But I think with that, I'm going to draw it to a close. We got 2 bingos out of this. I'm kind of surprised we got any because I thought this is such a weird subject for the show. But it was probably one of the most memorable ones thus far. And I thank everybody for joining us. Jim, thank you so much for joining me as a wingman. I couldn't have asked for a better informed perspective on this subject as we proceeded.
Well, Scribe, thank you very much for inviting me.
I really do appreciate it. I also appreciate everybody in the chat for joining us for this, especially all the celebrities, all the veterans. Thank you so much, both audience and friends of mine from YouTube. Let's see. With that, I'm going to call it here. Everyone, thank you again for joining me. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though everyone here is so well behaved. You have very little to do. Everybody who donated, either to myself or, again, to the fundraisers pinned to the top of the chat box, thank you guys so much for your generosity. Really do appreciate it. One last note, while we have so many other creators here, if there is a creator out there whose stuff you like, be sure to let people know. Share their stuff out on social media, whether it's on Facebook or Twitter, X, or Instagram, or Threads, or LimeWire, or Facebook, the LiveJournal, right? Tumblr, whatever the kids are using these days. Just do that because they appreciate it. And really, at the end of the day, the way that YouTube works these days, you are our best algorithm. But also, according to the algorithm, if you hit that like button, that apparently helps me or something. So I don't know. Either way, everyone, thank you again for joining me. Hope you are all having a good rest of your Thursday, Friday ahead of you, weekend as well. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.